Hey everyone, welcome back. So what I decided to do now for my next video is I wanted to talk about some players that I feel have been standing out, not just necessarily this season, but have been in years prior for their teams, or even if they've been on different teams. And I want to emphasize 10 players specifically, depth forwards in the NHL that have had really solid seasons and maybe aren't getting as much recognition as they deserve if they're on a deeper team or anything like that. So overall, I'm going to now talk about 10 players that I think that have really stood out this season. Starting off is the Colorado Avalanche with Matt Calvert. The Avalanche, you could easily pick a lot of players on their team that have been standouts for them, but Calvert has really stood out to me, and here's why. Throughout his tenure with the Columbus Blue Jackets, in which he was with them for numerous years, he was never a big point getter. Always one of those guys that would go harder than that. Get in your face, will fight when needed. Not necessarily an enforcer or anything like that, but just a hard nosed player that isn't afraid to get in the opposing team's faces. And he then signed with Colorado this season and has really thrived with them thus far. In 26 games played, he has 6 goals, 11 assists for 17 points, and his career high was 26 points with Columbus last season. So this year in particular, he's already on pace to demolish all previous career highs he's had in the statistic column, and he has been a really good forward for Colorado, playing all throughout the lineup, but especially with everyone healthy now, he's playing in the bottom 6. But he's been alongside McKinnon at times throughout the season that has definitely helped him. But overall, he's one that is definitely great to have on the team. He sticks up for his teammates, has done it for McKinnon numerous times throughout the season already, and will block shots like crazy, be there on the penalty kill. And I'm not sure if you know, but I want to say 2 weeks ago maybe this happened now. Calvert blocked a shot against Vancouver on Elias Pettersson, but he blocked it like right in his face, in his head, like the side of his head, like his temple, because Calvert was sliding down, and then as Pettersson was winding up, he didn't notice that Calvert was diving all the way down on the ice as he did, and he unfortunately got hit right in the head, and there was no whistle blown, so play continued while he was on the ice, and something very severe could have happened. Luckily, it didn't, but barely moving on the ice, and the play continued, which led to Vancouver scoring a power play goal. But that was a huge problem with the officials, and still is, with not blowing the play dead when something that serious happens, because God forbid, if it would have been more serious, he could have possibly died on the ice, and that's obviously a really scary thing. But besides from the point, just to show how much of a warrior he can be, and really gets overlooked, in my opinion. And luckily he's back now. He was out with a concussion, but he's back in the Colorado lineup now, and it is great to see. But overall, I've really enjoyed watching him and his game this season, and he has definitely been a huge part in Colorado's success when healthy. So after the Colorado Avalanche, I'm going to talk now about the St. Louis Blues. This was another team where they have a lot of contributors in their bottom 6, but throughout this season and past couple seasons, Oscar Sundqvist has been phenomenal. I do not understand why he does not get enough recognition, because he is such an interesting player. He's a sizable guy. Came over from Pittsburgh a couple seasons ago in a trade for Ryan Reeves, I believe, and he has truly thrived in his role with St. Louis. He's another one of those that has been a filler throughout every line on the team, but he's now currently in the bottom 6, I believe, on the 4th line. But regardless of what line he is on, he makes things happen. He's another great penalty killer, contributes offensively. In 29 games played, he has 9 goals, 7 assists for 16 points, and his career high was last season with 31. So he is another player that is on pace to demolish his previous career highs, and is really having an impressive season with St. Louis thus far, and is one of many players on the St. Louis Blues team that has truly stepped up this season after the season-ending injury, it seems, to Vladimir Tarasenko, and they've had other injuries throughout the season, like Sundqvist was hurt for a while, Sammy Blais been out for a while, who's another good forward that they have, who seems to have a promising future. They've had a lot of injuries in the lineup, but Sundqvist, when healthy, has been really good for them, and I've been really impressed with his play. He's definitely a guy that anyone any playoff contending team would love to have in their bottom six that isn't just a defensive minded guru when it comes to being a forward, but contributes offensively and does it big night in and night out, truly, even if he only gets 10 to 12 minutes a game. So after Sundqvist, I have the Nashville Predators. This one is probably the most obvious one. It is Nick Bonino. Nick Bonino leads the team in goal scoring. It is crazy. He has 12 goals, 8 assists for 20 points in 32 games, and his career high was 49 points in the 2013-2014 season with Anaheim. That is crazy. He played with Anaheim for numerous years, and then he played with Vancouver for one season, I believe, and then after that he's been with Nashville since. And after Vancouver he was with Pittsburgh, where he won the Cup against Nashville, and then after that he went with Nashville. But he really has been playing up the points offensively and numerous years now, but this year, for whatever reason, he has just broke out, and that is speaking loudly for this Nashville team that has struggled offensively at times. Obviously, they have one of the best defenses in the league when it comes to scoring, with all the weapons they have there, but their offense hasn't been as expected this season, which is kind of interesting. Guys like Phil Forsberg's been good, but Victor Arvidsson, before he got hurt, wasn't on the same pace as he's been in previous seasons. Matt Duchene went from having a really hot start to slowing down quite a bit. And overall, just their forward group hasn't been as good as advertised as all Nashville fans and myself would have expected to go in almost halfway through the season now. And Ryan Johansson, too, is another one that isn't putting up the points nearly as much as maybe expected, and really hasn't since he's come over from Columbus in the Seth Jones trade. But overall, Nick Bonino has been a huge part of this Nashville team and their success. And as long as this continues, only good things are going to happen once everyone in the top six starts clicking. And him playing with Rocco Grimaldi as well, they have done really well with each other. So that's been great to see for Nashville. And Bonino has really rejuvenated, I shouldn't say rejuvenated his career, but he's definitely having a bounce back season and has been impressive to say the least. So after Nashville, I have the Washington Capitals, and this is a player that I've always been a fan of. Really one that I do not enjoy playing against because he normally does well against the Rangers and other teams I follow, is Lars Eller. Lars Eller, as you may know, played multiple seasons with the Montreal Canadiens, then came over not too long ago to the Capitals, and he's having a really good start to the season this year. In 35 games played, he has 7 goals, 10 assists for 17 points, and his career high was 38 points 2 seasons ago in the 17-18 season. And last season he had 36 points, I believe. But he's still on pace to have a career year in regards to points. And he has been a huge part as well for this Capitals team, a mainstay on their third line. Kills penalties, contributes offensively, will be on the power play at times as well, and really does it all. There is not many things about his game that aren't strong. And just looking at the depth in this Capitals lineup, with having Backstrom and Kuznetsov as their top 2 centers, and then having Lars Eller as your third, that is a ridiculous top 9 when it comes to their overall forward group, and their center depth is just unbelievably deep. So Lars Eller has contributed in a lot of ways for this Capitals team, and they have obviously enjoyed every second of it. And he's another one of those, when injuries happen, whether it be to Backstrom or Kuznetsov, he steps into that top 6 and he thrives in those roles as well. So can't say enough good things about Lars. He's having another very good start to the season, and at this pace he will crack 40 points. So that's great to see in his case. So Lars Eller is my pick there. And then this one might be debatable in regards to him being a depth forward, but I view him as one because he's normally around the third line, not necessarily fourth line, but second and third, more so third this season, has been Alex Tuch for the Vegas Golden Knights. He's played 19 games because he's been hurt at times, unfortunately. 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points, and his career high was last season with 52 points. Alex Tuch, in my opinion, is a player that has yet to break out. I think that there's a lot there still when it comes to him. I look at him, he looks like a bona fide goal scorer. I can see him being a 30-goal scorer in this league. I really feel that he has the potential. He's already cracked 20 goals before. So since coming over from the Minnesota Wild in the expansion draft to Vegas, he has really thrived in a lot of the roles that he's been put in for Vegas. Contributes in both ways. Another defensively sound forward as well, and will be on the power play too. So another one of those dual threats where he will help you anyway in the lineup, and I feel that he would be in a higher role if he was on a lot of other teams in the league. But given the fact of how deep Vegas is offensively, it makes sense why he's been lingering in the bottom six. But overall, I'm a big fan of his game, and I think that there's still plenty more when it comes to him. I think the NHL has yet to see the full potential of Alex Tuch. It's really just about staying healthy for him because he's been injury prone throughout his career. So I hope for his sake that he can stay healthy and truly be a force on this Vegas Golden Knights team like he was the past 2 seasons. So after Vegas, I have the New York Islanders, and my pick was Derek Brassard. And this is without bias whatsoever. I've always been a Brassard fan, of course, him playing for the Rangers, but he has really stood out this season, and similar to Nick Bonino's case, has come out of nowhere after having numerous seasons and not putting up the points, not nearly as much like he has in years prior. This season so far, in 31 games played, he has 7 goals, 10 assists for 17 points, and his career high is 60 points in the 2014-2015 season, which is the season that the New York Rangers went to the Stanley Cup last. So Brassard, since being traded from the Senators, traded from the Rangers to the Senators, he had a strong first season with the Senators with 39 points, but ever since then, everything's died down. He then was moved on to Pittsburgh, where he was not really that effective. Another bottom six forward that would get you 20 to 30 points at best. And then he moved on to Florida and the Avalanche and did nothing with them. He was moved around numerous times last season. And then he found a home this year with the New York Islanders and is really showing that he still has it and he's still an effective forward in this league. He is another forward that will help you on the PK if needed and can contribute on power play. So another player where on special teams he can help you in all aspects. But overall, Derek Brassard has been a huge part of the Islanders and their success this year with guys not necessarily playing up to their potential yet. Anders Lee comes to mind, especially. He's bounced around. He's been in the bottom six lately as well. So Brassard, really impressed with him, really happy for him that he's having a bounce back season, and hopefully that will give him a chance to get a possibly bigger contract in this upcoming free agency, because I believe he's on a 1-year deal with the Islanders, which can only push him to give him more incentive to have a strong season. So overall, I'm really happy for him, and it's great to see that he's doing well. So after Derek Brassard, we have Vancouver Canucks, and my pick was Adam Gaudette. Adam Gaudette, not a lot of people know about, and I really didn't know a whole lot about him going into this season, but this is his 3rd year with Vancouver, I believe. He's only 23 years old. In 24 games this season for Vancouver, he has 6 goals, 8 assists for 14 points, and his career high was 12 points in 56 games played last season. So he's already having a career year, which is fantastic to see. He's really thrived in the bottom 6 role for Vancouver and has bounced around the lineup as well. And especially with some injuries that Vancouver has had throughout the season, he has stepped up and really helped them. So it was great to see Gaudette doing well. He is one of those that, in my opinion, has really been under the radar. Not a lot necessarily know a whole lot about him, and neither did I, but I really have enjoyed watching him this season, and he has been a huge part in Vancouver having a solid, deeper lineup than what they've had in years prior, with a lot of moves that they made in the offseason. By having guys like him in the bottom 6 step up and contribute offensively is huge for them. And if that continues, then that can definitely help them make a push for the playoffs this season. So Adam Gaudette was my pick for Vancouver. And then Pittsburgh Penguins, I have Dominic Cahoon. He played 32 games so far this season, 8 goals, 9 assists, 17 points, and his career high was 37 points with Chicago last year. This is only the guy's 2nd year in the league. He's another one of those that really came out of nowhere and has been thriving in the role that he's had with Pittsburgh, given the fact that they've had every player basically injured known to man, and he has been bounced all throughout the lineup, especially on the 2nd and 3rd lines, and he has really done well for them, given all the injuries they've had. And he's just a prime example of the numerous forwards for Pittsburgh, whether it be Brandon Tanev, Teddy Bluger, Lafferty, etc. Not necessarily very well-known guys, but have stepped up and won them games single-handedly at times, and just shows the depth that Pittsburgh has. Regardless if you know the players or not, they end up coming out from either the AHL or minor moves that the team made in a year prior, and have really been doing well for them. And Cahoon is definitely one of those. So great for Pittsburgh's case. I don't know what Pittsburgh fans thought of Cahoon going into the season. I'm sure plenty didn't even really know much about him, because considering he's still relatively new in the league, it's only his sophomore season. But it's great to see him doing well, and he is continuing to take advantage of the opportunities that Pittsburgh is giving him. So that was my pick for Pittsburgh. And now the San Jose Sharks. This is kind of a gimme one too. Barclay Goodrow. He has been fantastic for San Jose. Now I understand that San Jose hasn't had a great year thus far. They ended up firing their head coach and everything because of it. But overall, Goodrow has been one of the highlights for the San Jose team. He's been on the team for numerous years too. It's not like he just came out of nowhere. Just the point production has been phenomenal this year. In 35 games played, he has 6 goals, 8 assists for 14 points. His career high was last season with 17 points. So he is on pace to demolish his career statistics too for personal best. And he has really done a great job for them. Definitely something that San Jose needs, because with their defense lacking and their goaltending at times, the last thing that they need is to have problems in the scoring front. So having guys like Goodrow in their bottom 6 contributing the way that he has offensively is huge for them. Great season. Really can't say enough good things about him. It seems like every year San Jose has a diamond in the rough type of player, especially on the offensive front, that comes out. Even though that Timo Meier was more coveted, Timo, when he first came on the scene a couple years ago, was a good example. Even years ago when Thomas Hertl first burst on the scene, then last season with Kevin LeBanc having a really strong season, and now this year is Barclay Goodrow. So great to see for San Jose, and hopefully he continues it and helps be a force in their bottom 6 to hopefully help them get things together and possibly have a run for this year's playoffs. Because I really think that even though there is a lot of holes in that San Jose lineup, I feel that their offense is too good enough to not make a strong push this season and going forward. So that was my pick for San Jose. And now that is going to do it, actually. That was 10, I believe. So let's just make sure of it. So we got Calvert, Sundqvist, Bonino, Eller, Tuck, Gaudet, Goodrow. Oh, I'm missing more guys. Goodrow. Oh, okay. Well, Ilya Mikheyev was another one I had. I just completely forgot about him. Ilya Mikheyev is a rookie. He's a 25-year-old rookie. Came over from the KHL for Toronto this season and has done fantastic. Really didn't know what to expect from him, especially given the fact that he's not a young rookie by any means, him being 25, but that tends to happen when players come over from Russia. It can take time. But he has really done well in all different parts of their lineup. In 34 games, he has 5 goals, 13 assists, 18 points, and has really been strong for this Toronto team that has struggled at times to find goal scoring, believe it or not. The consistency hasn't been there. Obviously, that led to the firing of Mike Babcock, but even with Sheldon Keefe in now as a head coach, they haven't been as consistent as maybe they would hope, but lately they've been doing well, winning 3 of their last 4 games, and now they're home after the away trip they had. So overall, Mikheyev has really thrived. He's seen plenty of playing time also in the top 6, whether it be alongside Matthews or Tavares. He has really been strong for them, and I have no clue what his ceiling is going to be. So maybe he's one of those that ends up not just being a depth forward, but actually a key contributor in either Toronto or other teams' top 6s going forward in his career. So it's great to see that he is doing well for them. So with that being said, I believe that is all I had. I might just count this quick to make sure of it, because I had some scribble out that I was thinking about talking about, but then I decided no. So Calvert. Okay, that's 10 now. Alright, so that is going to conclude this video. Sorry that I was being stupid there. But I just had some crossed out that I was originally going to talk about. But then I came to the conclusion that there were some players that in my mind were more notable than others. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to come up with different types of topics, whether it be about forwards, defensemen, goaltenders, or all of them together, and just all random things NHL, like I've said and talked about in my bio on the YouTube channel if you haven't seen it already. So thank you all so much for watching. I will be back soon. And just to add this in, the last video that I posted when I was talking about favorite players, and I already talked about Taylor Hall for New Jersey, I posted that after he was traded because it was just taking a while to upload and I didn't want to redo the whole video. So yes, I know Taylor Hall is traded to Arizona. So Jesper Bratt is the only favorite I have for the New Jersey Devils. So, all right, well, thank you all so much for watching again, and I will be back in a couple days. So, thanks.